Hi guys.
Hey.
In this episode, we're going to be discussing YouTuber books and the most kind of recent comment on that. Like last year was filled with so many people with a lot of negative views on
YouTubers making books and...
Well, everybody was coming out with a book last year. And
yeah, everyone.
and there's so many of them. Like, we've talked about this before, not on camera, so...
Yeah, we've had so many discussions about this.
These opinions will be fresh for you guys to hear, but we'll discuss it now. This opinion comes from Savannah, who is a YouTuber. She does, like, poetry videos. I haven't really watched any of her content, and is kind of friends with Dodie's group.
For those people who don't know who these people are, we will link everyone down below so you can have an idea of, who these people are we're talking about.
So, on Tumblr, Savannah was asked, do you have something against Zoella and Alfie, her boyfriend? And this was by an anonymous. And she goes, yeah, I do actually. I think they're money-grabbing shills.
Okay.
Who, although perhaps care about their audience to a certain extent, romanticise and idealise, what am I talking about? And present false images for the sake of viewership. I think they're people who got very, very famous for doing very, very nothing at all. She's not got very good English for a poetry writer. And like, all of this stuff might be shitty, but it's not criminal, right? Of course. Well, Zoe lied to her audience consisting of young preteen girls about writing something that she didn't actually, and sold her name off without a second thought. Went on about how had always been her dream to write a book and bullshit. Alfie literally just said he wrote a book by doodling on a notepad, which is what his book basically is a notepad with doodles and now they're just publishing it with their names and faces, and they're making millions off the naivety of hundreds of thousands of young people with parents who've got money to spend on them. So yeah, she does have a problem with them. So that's...
I feel like I really want to not have that view, but part of me does. Which is sad, but
yeah.
It's honest. Not with them specifically, in general.
It was then quite a backlash from some of your bigger YouTubers making comments on Twitter, not directly to Savannah, but in a kind of like, don't make these comments type things. But Savannah does have a book that she's publishing on her own website. It's a poetry book, so
it's a bit different than Penguin and all those big publishers.
And other comment or other questions she's been asked, she really, I think, points out that her real trouble is with kind of like Joe, Alfie and Zoella.
Okay.
She likes like Tyler Oakley's book. She thinks that's kind of well written, and she mentioned someone else having a well written book. And in a way, those are also the books I disagree with, because I think Alfie's is very much like Wreck This Journal, which was by Kerry Smith and was out years before.
Yeah, there's a big thing about that, wasn't there?
And Zoella, like, I like Daniel J. Layton, actor. If you watched his videos ever,
no.
He did a really good video on the Zoella book and said, like, he didn't really care if she didn't write it.
Mm-hmm.
He's read the book. I haven't. I own the book. I haven't read it yet.
Right.
He kind of meaning to. I just don't know if it's aimed at me.
I feel like it doesn't fit her brand.
But
then you could say,
well, it's aimed at preteen girls and it's a love story, so
I suppose, yeah.
It's part of her brand anyway.
Yeah, okay.
And he was talking about how it didn't matter if she really wrote it or not. She's getting, like, she sold more books than J.K. Rowling in a week, kind of thing. And she's getting so many young people into reading. And that was his point. Like, so many young people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Reading and are probably going on to read maybe better books, maybe books written by actual people.
And I think it's a good point for everything that's always online now. It is, in a way, a good thing, because how many people are going to be picking up an actual book? And I know, like, it's really, we sound so like backwards saying this, being like, everyone's always online, no one reads a book anymore, but that's a good point to make.
Too, because like, I used to love reading books, and I used to read books at like a really quick pace. And now if I pick up a book, it's months later before I finish it, because I've put it down so many times, been distracted by my laptop and so many other things that I'm doing. Like, if I've got a spare minute, I'm probably on my laptop rather than picking up that book again. And
yeah, I'm not a good reader at all. Going back to the YouTuber thing, this might sound really cheeky, but it's just being honest. I don't believe and I will stand by this, I do not believe every single YouTuber that has got a book out, that has been a dream of theirs. I feel like they've seen a check, they've seen the money, and they've thought, it's a good opportunity, because you wouldn't turn it down. I'm not saying that they haven't thought about it since being asked to do it, but I don't think it's been something that they have said, I really want to do this, before they did the videos and before they got the followers. I don't think they would have written a book, which could be said for anyone, you know, like people on TV, you know, anyone who writes a book. But I feel like with YouTube, it seems like such a more genuine platform to watch someone one-on-one, that sometimes you almost feel a bit played when people go and sell these millions and millions of things, and they go on brand deals and they do these huge things, and it almost feels like they've kind of sold out in a way. And that sounds really nasty, but I don't believe that everyone who's written a book on YouTube, that's been their goal.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Then there's other people on YouTube who I think maybe didn't have the opportunity before to write a book and deserve to write one, like Mimi Hart and
because
Grace Helbig, who's released her second book.
But for me, they've studied acting, they've written scripts, they did screenwriting.
Like everything they do is genuine kind of thing, like that is.
I feel like you can tell, and I feel like with YouTube you can tell when someone has a brand deal or they're passionate about something. There's such a difference, and it's really difficult to play it off. If you don't like something, you can tell straight away. And I think because YouTubers can make their own videos and edit it their own way, they think it looks like they like something, but you can really tell. And for me, Mary Hart's book and Grace Helbig's book and Hannah Hart's, I feel like they, I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm sure they did comedy in college. One of them did screenwriting, they've written movies, so for them that feels like a genuine path. But for other people, I just don't buy it.
But then there's like other books like Louise's, Tanya's and Fleur de Force's, where I feel like they're just extensions of their channels, which seems like a more genuine book than Girl Online. Or
Username Evie, it just seems too random.
Because Username Evie is actually a graphic novel and not a book in such a way. So to write a graphic novel, like, is very little contribution to graphic novels. Graphic novels are pictures. Yeah. And he didn't draw those pictures.
Yeah, so I feel like if an opportunity, like, I mean, it's great.
If the opportunity ever arose, I would never turn something like that down. Like, it would be too. Yeah. Like, you would love to see yourself published. I mean, to get in. Yeah, I mean, you would never turn that opportunity down. So.
And I don't blame. I don't agree with Savannah, is that her name? I don't agree with her comments, but then at the same time, I don't disagree. I'm kind of on the fence.
Yeah, like, I don't feel like you should be slamming other people when you're like.
You're kind of in the same industry.
This is the most publicity her book's probably gotten, especially because she's not going to be selling on Amazon or that because she doesn't have any deals. And maybe it's a part of her that is a little bit better about it. Maybe she wants that kind of bigger deal, and she talked about something about how all these YouTubers are with Gleam and kind
of. It seems for me, even watching YouTube does seem quite cliquey.
YouTube, like.
But that's because it's just friends hanging out and it still stays that way. That's just fine. Yeah. But it does seem really cliquey.
It is, like, everyone has their little kind of groups. Some people don't go out of those groups, other people do.
But when you think of YouTube, you don't think, right, for me now, I don't think of our community, I think of like 5 people. I think of like, not 5, but I can think of 10 or 20 big people. But you forget how many millions of people are on YouTube. And when I think of, YouTubers, I only think of a handful of people because they're always in this one wee bubble, which is fine. I mean, you can think about that when you think of famous singers, you can think of top 10 right now.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's become this huge industry. And even like 3-4 years ago, it wasn't this big corporation.
I feel like so many YouTubers also get like caught in nowhere, like in no man's land, because
I feel like people don't get a chance anymore, and it's sad. It just feels different.
And every day someone else turns, is it like 13, 14 to have like a Gmail account to a YouTube
It's something
channel.
like that.
And every day someone else turns that age.
Everyone we're talking about, I watch. So it's like I'm fans of them.
Yeah, sometimes it's like I watch more because I want to see what happens rather than I'm actually interested anymore.
Like I would never turn a book deal down. In fact, I think I would, because I couldn't write a book. Like, what? I don't have anything. Jenna Marbles made this point. Like, she's the only not the only, but she's one of the big YouTubers.
She's what, the second, third biggest thing.
She's like one of the highest female subscribed YouTubers out. But she's like, I haven't written a book, even though she's been offered to, because like, what would she write about that's not on her brand? And I feel like she still sticks to her thing. Not that you have to. I mean, you can do what you want, but I feel like it's
Yeah.
more genuine too, and I feel like you can tell when someone's been offered a check.
I feel like I couldn't write a book right now, but give me a couple of years, I'll get one
I
for
mean, I
you.
don't have anything to say that covers 300 pages.
No.
I would rather talk.
Definitely. I'd rather have like a more like Louise Live. I'd rather do that kind of a thing and be with my audience.
Yeah, that's
and,
cool. Like, that thing seems more creative than.
And but like, I really do like Louise, so I will like back her up because
Yeah.
I think she's like comforting when I watch her,
Yeah.
and I think her books and like part of her brand, like it really reflects her channel. But I think her Louise Live seems more like a style she should be doing. Like instead, like I didn't feel like
Yeah, I like it.
like Tyler did his was it Sleepover,
Yeah, you did.
and that seemed like another great thing. I've been told his book is really good and funny and
Yeah,
Right.
I've heard stuff online as well.
who else did it? Miranda does her tours, but Miranda's singer and
I mean,
Colleen's
Miranda
the singer.
sings has been doing this for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like Miranda could have written a book, and I'd be like, I could imagine that, but I just can't imagine. I don't know. Some people, I just don't see it being a
Yeah.
genuine thing.
Like,
But I just want to point out everyone I'm talking about, and if I have a
Yeah.
negative comment, I'm not negative about
It's-
them. I'm just
it's
sharing.
just their book. Like,
I'm just
their
asking
channels.
I'm just asking the question.
It's like the people who write like autobiographies or memoirs. You're like you're 20. You haven't lived a long
Yeah,
enough
like
life
Connor
yet.
Franta did a memoir, but his was called A Life in Progress, I think. Oh, I don't know if I got that wrong, but that got good reviews, and I think, but that suited his brand, like the packaging and everything about it was like you could see that was a Connor Franta book. But with me, Alfie's book, he published a second one, I think, and it just seemed lazy to me.
There's a third one coming out now.
It just seems lazy. It seems like an easy way to make money, and it doesn't feel 100% genuine. I mean, it may be a fun project and it may be a great thing to do, but for me, writing a second book for the same
There's
thing.
actually, I'll find it. There's a comment on Alfie writing books, or like the Alfie said, I got a notepad and I asked my publisher how many pages the book needed to be, and I just wrote on all of the pages pretending it was going to be like the finished book, and now it's just all been printed what I wrote on pages like a book. I haven't read one page back yet. I've wrote the entire book and I haven't even read a page back. I should probably do that. And I think that just shows an ingenuine side to the whole YouTuber books.
Yeah, for me, if I ever do something creative, I watch it back so many times
Like,
to the point where I hate it. But I think if you don't read your own stuff, I mean, how can you not read your own project and read through it?
'Cause,
I mean, I suppose you could say that, like, a lot of actors don't go to their movies and watch themselves on screen, but I think it's different.
There's also someone else there, like your director and your editor, to like make sure that looks like a finished good work progress type thing. And actors obviously learn from every different experience they have, whereas I feel like writers do need to go through their, because like your editor said, like obviously his books are different because you're just filling in the blanks in his pages and stuff.
Yeah.
And I watched a vlog of his maybe a couple of weeks back, and it was, I just finished the last page, and I was like, how long is it taking you to write these books? Because there's
They're
not a
kinda
lot of
diddly.
content.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It almost, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, you would never turn that down. It's good money. At the end of the day, it is
I
a
think you have
job.
to have a good idea and make sure your kind of like audience is of a vulnerable age where they buy something just to support you, and especially when you're offering like likes or follows or retweets if you're buying said product.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful that you're not just enticing young girls or boys to buy things because they like you. I think for me, I've not bought any YouTuber book because I know that I don't like to read, and that sounds so stupid, but I don't like to read books, and that's just me. But I feel like if I was younger, I'd buy it for the sake of buying it. I kind of want Mamie Hart's book,
Yeah.
but because I just spat. But because that's a book with drinks in it, and I'm of that age where I like to drink.
I like a cocktail. Like cocktails are what I drink.
And that she knows her audience. But for me, if I was 12, 13 and I was watching something and I was like, oh, I love you, I would buy it for the sake of buying it, and that's sad because I think they know that.
I've bought a few YouTuber books, but I like reading. Like me and Scott are different in that I like to read not a lot of reading content in a lot of the books, but some are just nice advice things, and I think a lot of the books aren't aimed
Yeah.
at Scott's audience, which is male.
Yeah, that's a good part. I was thinking about that. Like, can you imagine?
Like,
See, when
you-
Alfie goes to do a convention, can you imagine that one wee lonely boy standing in between 500 girls who are like just buying all these things to get noticed?
And like,
You can say that about any celebrity because they are celebrities. At the
I
end of
always
the day.
feel like Alfie's front covers look like they should be aimed at boys, but then it's girl majority. Whereas like Louise and Tanya, Fleur de Force, Luella, their books are aimed at girls, and
Yeah, they have a different target audience look and.
like, well, like basically most people I think are aiming at because girls are your larger percentage. It's like why they're called fangirls. It's
Yeah.
your larger percentage of your more kind of like devoted audience.
Yeah. I
And-
feel like it does come down to your audience because if you think about it, Grace Helbig, Mamie Hart, that kind of side, they do have such a varied audience. Like, I think
Yeah.
they've even said before that they have an audience ranging from 12 to 25.
especially
so they
because
can.
they are on the older side of YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, they're not old at all.
They're not old in like real world terms, but in YouTube terms,
You've got 15-year-olds who are millionaires.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
it's crazy, and it's definitely
But going back to like the original topic, I
feel like you should be dragging people into the dark.
I feel like if she had the opportunity, would she be turning it down? Because I don't think she would. Because at the end of the day, YouTube isn't going to last forever. When you're 50, you're not. I mean, you could be. You never know. But you're not going to be making the videos, and your fans are going to grow up, and you have to make a living, and you have to expand your brand.
Yeah.
And Zoella now has employees, an office for Zoella Beauty, and if YouTube ever runs out, or it doesn't stay as popular, she has a company and a
Or
business.
even if her type of video doesn't stay popular, because there are only so many times you can tell someone what's in your bag before people stop tuning in
Yeah.
to see what's in your bag.
So at the end of the day, you have to expand, and I think that's also their plan as well. In their mind, they know that.
yeah.
So I think it's also a business strategy, and I don't see anything wrong with it. But then the girl Savannah, I do understand
Like,
her point of view, and I
obviously
do
I
see
think-
where she's coming from.
She obviously thinks she's putting in more work because she writes her poetry herself, and she does. And obviously that is probably way more work than Pointless Blog will ever put into a book.
Yeah, poetry's so personal.
Yeah, and it's a lot more, but I think it's obviously just kind of maybe a more difference in,
Mhm.
well, like you're talking about Zoella, 10 million subscribers,
Yeah.
like it's hard to compete.
Yeah, but then I think you have to remember Zoella did work. Still
worked, like-
continues to work so hard, like
And all these YouTubers do face like their criticisms, like it
just
doesn't
like any
matter.
other public figure. I
Like
mean,
Louise went on to Celebrity Mastermind and got asked how much she made, and
that's horrible.
Zoella was put on, what's that, the Great British Bake Off Celebrity Edition, and her name got missed out on like the announcement before it. It told you the 3 other celebrities,
Yeah, I
and they
remember
totally
that.
missed out Zoella being on it. And you're thinking you got a whole younger generation tuning into your show today just because they know
Yeah, so I think it's important they are important.
they are there, and maybe they don't always have something to say in a book, but they have something to say online, and we should be discrediting them because we don't think they deserve it, type thing.
Yeah. So overall view on her comments, YouTuber books, and YouTube becoming a big thing in general. What do you think?
I think Savannah was. I feel like in a way, like you are entitled to your own opinion. Maybe she shouldn't have been so harsh or so pointed, like naming Alfie and Zoella.
Yeah, since she's
Maybe
got a
she
problem
should
with
have just-
them.
Like it seems like a very, because it's a very focused view. Maybe she should have just said it in general or whatever. What's the other? Your books.
Yeah, what's your view on YouTuber books?
I agree with some. I disagree with others. The ones I disagree with, I'm not going to be buying. The ones I agree with, I probably will support
Yeah.
the person. That's just how that works. Then, like, just because I disagree with it doesn't mean I think it shouldn't be published. Someone
Yeah.
else is going to enjoy it. And YouTube being a big thing can be a good and bad thing. Like it's, I feel fame goes to some people's heads and not others, and
Yeah,
some people stay on that kind of the nice level.
yeah.
Like Jenna Marbles obviously realised she doesn't have anything to say, whereas what was
In a
that?
book, not in general.
In a book,
Yeah.
she's got stuff to say online. But then Alex from Target, who got famous via Instagram picture, Snapchat, something like
Yeah.
that, went on a tour. So I feel like some
Yeah,
people,
that could be a bigger conversation. Yeah, you
Some
could go on
people-
for ages about all
yeah,
this.
there's so many different aspects to YouTube. I just feel like if you're going to go into this world, you need to be set in your mind and
Not
what
sell out. I feel like, what was the first bit? Overall, of her comments. I feel like her comments were honest, which is fine. I feel like I agree with some bits, not others, and I do get where she's coming from. The whole YouTuber book thing, I feel like maybe I'm just being really big-headed, but I can tell when someone's written something for money or done something for money, and it's kind of sad. But I mean, creative people do things all the time, and they do things out of their branch, so maybe that's good that they branch out. And the whole YouTube thing, I feel it's kind of sad because it's kind of lost its personality a wee bit. It kind of feels like a big company, not something that you go and watch and be like, I feel like I know this person, I feel like I'm friendly. It feels like a huge big, I mean it is, it's a big money making thing, but it's kind of sad that it's lost its personal touch.
Yeah.
But, I mean, great things come from YouTube as well. So, there you go.
Sorry. Well, I feel like that's it. Like,
I think we've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot. Like, there's so many bits you could talk about, but we'll end it there.
Yeah, if you guys have discussions, then please continue it.
In the
Comments.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you there.
Bye.
Bye.